The Swiss Press Club based in Geneva, Switzerland. Thank you for people being here in the room with us in person, and also welcome to all the people that are actually online for this event. This morning we have the exceptional pleasure to have His Excellency Ambassador Fuad ISGANDAROV from Azerbaijan. His Excellency is the ambassador accredited for the bilateral relations with Switzerland. He is based in Bern, and he presented his credentials recently, meaning last November.
No, 1 year ago.
1 year ago,
yeah.
in November, the 4th of November 2021. But he has a very broad experience about the international world, and he came here because he is very keen in presenting his country to all of you, and also talking about different aspects of the country that we don't know very well. So I will give him the floor now, and after it will be followed by exchanges of questions coming from the people sitting here in the room, but also people online. Questions will be, you will be able to ask your questions in English, in French, or Russian. Thank you. So, Your Excellency, please, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Catherine. I am really pleased to be here. First of all, welcome to everyone, and my gratitude to the Press Club for such kind of opportunity. What I would like to say that, I don't want to spend a lot of time for presentation. Maybe it will be just 5-7 minutes, but it will be mostly about the bilateral relations between Azerbaijan and Switzerland, maybe a little bit more about my country, but not too much. First of all, everybody knows that Azerbaijan is locating in Southern Caucasus, and now the country is really booming, not just because of the situation with gas or energy. No, the problem is the advantage is that now we have a medium corridor, which is going between Europe and Asia, which is going via the territory of Georgia and Azerbaijan and Southern Caucasus. And just imagine, traffic has increased 76% in the last 9 months. Just in the last 9 months, it means that it is something as a bottleneck, and we need to a little bit enlarge it. And we have a very serious ambitions together with our partners, how we can help our European and Asian friends to be connected, to have, because we see the tectonic changes in supply chains, in business, in global level, regional level. But what we do our job. Concerning energy, everybody knows that we are the country which is producing gas and oil. Just information for you that we are one of the most serious suppliers now of Europe. 16 BCM, billion cubic meters of gas. It's now current capacity of Azerbaijani Southern Gas Corridor, which is going via Georgia, from Azerbaijan, Shahdanis 2, then Georgia, then Turkey, then Greece, Albania, and Italy. But we are planning in close 5 years double this volume, and I think it will be very serious and energy supply route for our friends, including Switzerland. And concerning other elements, Azerbaijan is a country which was established in 1918. It was a first country in the Muslim world with the democratic traditions. We did have a parliament with quotas for different nations. For example, Our first minister of health was Jew. We did have a minister, German minister, Armenian minister in our government, Russian ministers. We did have members of government from different nations, and not only from different parties. It was something amazing in the beginning of 19th century, 20th century, imagine. And I remember that we gave the right to vote for women in 1918, when a lot of European countries made it much more later. So, proud of it, proud of history, but of course, as in other country of this area, we've been occupied by Bolsheviks, and of course, the approach to live in an independent country remained in our hearts, in our minds, and we managed to reanimate our independence 18th of October 1991, and just recently, it means that just 8 days before, we celebrated this, and we received a lot of congratulations from our friends. And that but what was our development during Soviet times? Unfortunately, of course, it was difficult times, but just I give you 2 examples. There were only 2 countries in among former Soviet republics which never have been subsidized from Moscow. It was Ukraine and Azerbaijan. And we did again develop, of course, mostly because of our oil and gas. We did have revenues in this period, and that's why we subsidized other republics. Secondary, during Second World War, we lost 350,000 Azerbaijanis in this war. And if you ask me why Stalingrad happened on the way to Baku, because it was decided to, first of all, to reach Baku oil, because Baku petrol provided 93% of the fuel of Red Army. Imagine, 93%. That's why, of course, the fascist regime decided to go in southern direction, and Stalingrad happened to prevent this possibility. So then about real independence, it was a difficult time. It was difficult. We started with war. Unfortunately, the center, initiated the conflicts just to have I call it conflict management in many republics, just to, I think, Soviet center. And then some of the countries started with protection of their territories from any threats from coming from abroad. And it happened in Georgia, it happened in Azerbaijan, it happened in Moldova, now we see in other countries. But I know one thing, the independence never comes for free. You should pay for it. You should battle for it. You should defend it. In this case, you know the price of independence and sovereignty. I do think that a lot of countries now, especially now, they know it, and we are very proud that we've been one of the most successful among the countries. Now we have a regional ambitions to work together with our neighbors in the case of the creating regional infrastructure for transportation with Central Asian countries, with other countries. I would like to say that also would like to engage this process Armenia, with which we are on peace negotiations. I want to stress that the first ever direct negotiations between the ministers of foreign affairs without any other foreign participant happened here in Geneva, 2nd of October. And I'm very proud of it because I have an ambassador here in Switzerland. And they met before tete-a-tete, but it was mostly about the detained persons and other issues, but about the peace negotiations, it happened first time ever here. And that's why, for us, it's very important to continue this process, to engage all the neighbors to the process of the reanimation of this Caucasus region, Southern Caucasus region, with all the participants. Just recently, my president visited Georgia when he stated clearly that Georgia, Azerbaijan, and Armenia, that this trio could use this platform for starting a new age in our development. The only one thing which we need, the goodwill and strong will, nothing more, nothing more. So let's go to our relations, if you want, between Azerbaijan and Switzerland. It's very intensive, and we have very good political dialogue. Just recently, not recently, in May, the Speaker of our parliament visited Switzerland. It was very interesting visit. Then we did have a political consultations in June. You know that Azerbaijan, together with Switzerland, we are in one constituency group, you know, of World Bank and International Monetary Fund, and we're working very seriously. Our common trade is amazing. You know, we invested to Switzerland 2 billion and 6 million thousands of US dollars, and approximately 1 billion was invested from you know, from Swiss side, and our trade is mostly in financial sphere, in gold, and now it started also with oil. For example, in the beginning of this year, it was a zero export from Azerbaijan of crude oil to Switzerland, but now we have a 230 million US dollars export to Switzerland because of the request of our Swiss partners. 70% of the reservoirs, I mean cocktail reservoirs or reservoirs in the territory of Switzerland or other countries, it's mostly Azerbaijani gas, which is coming from Italy. And we are very happy to work with our Swiss partners because we think that we frankly speaking, we do have a lot of market to sell our gas, and you know, but sometimes we could decide, oh, okay, you don't have any other options except Europe. No, we do. Second trade partner in energy, in oil, crude oil of Azerbaijan is India. So, and the prices are the same. So there is no any problem in case of the marketing, but Europe is our general direction, general destination, because this is the basis for strengthening the values with our common values with our European friends. Azerbaijan is a really interesting country which is sitting in two chairs, a country with a mostly Muslim population, member of OSCE. On the other hand, we're a country, the member of Council of Europe, we're a member of OSCE. That's why this dual approach is always, you know, encouraging us to work smoothly with all our partners. I can tell about other issues. For example, we have now 16 BCM gas supply of energy by Southern Gas Corridor, and our plan is double it in 5 years. Imagine it's now more than, you know, most of other suppliers of gas to European market. And I remember when I did serve in Brussels, it started in 2012. I remember these days how we decided to choose the Southern Gas Corridor. And there were so many discussions, especially with our German friends. They said, no, you should go to West, Nabucco West, to be connected with all other gas which are coming from east and north. But we decided, no, we are not going to the same place. We would like to go to the southern Europe, and this market needs our gas more. Just recently, interconnector between southern gas corridor from Greece to Bulgaria has been opened, and we are very happy that we can provide Bulgaria and some other Balkan countries as well with Azerbaijani gas. And I would like also to inform you, just recently the Minister of Energy of Greece visited Azerbaijan, and we talked about the possibilities for swapping operation, helping some other countries of a region, especially Balkans, Ukraine, and others. That's very briefly, because I prefer to answer on your questions. I am at your disposal. You have 4 elements of the question. That's why we can start from bilateral relations and peace process, multinational and regional dimension, and then any other questions which you want. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, sir, for this broad presentation of your country, and specifically about the bilateral relations between Azerbaijan and Switzerland. We have already 2 persons that are asking questions online, and in the room, please raise your hand if you would like to ask questions too. I would like to remind all the people to be kind enough to introduce themselves before presenting their question, and to make short questions so His Excellency will be able to answer to it. So Tobias will give the mic to the gentleman in the room. So sir, please could you introduce yourself, and in which language are you going to ask your question?
English is fine.
Okay.
My name is Viken Cheterian. I lecture at universities here in Geneva in history and international relations. I follow Azerbaijan and other countries in the Caucasus for 30 years. So, Mr. Ambassador, first, thank you for coming to Geneva. We don't have many occasions to discuss about Azerbaijan in Geneva, although Azerbaijan is very important. SOCAR International Headquarters is based here, I think for us in Geneva, it's a unique opportunity to meet and discuss with you. My question is the following. You have mentioned multiculturalism and democracy in Azerbaijan. But at the same time, we know that Azerbaijan also practices ethnic cleansing, destruction of Armenian heritage. In Nakhichevan, there's no more one single stone reminding Armenian cultural heritage in Nakhichevan. In Shushi, Ganach Jam has been destroyed, and other cemeteries, churches, monasteries are being deformed. So my question is, what price do we pay as human beings? We are eventually human beings. We live in human society. What price do we pay when we talk about democracy and multiculturalism and we exercise ethnic cleansing? What price do we pay when you mention peace negotiations with Armenia? But we know that in September, Azerbaijan attacked Armenia. Last year, Azerbaijan attacked Armenia. 2020, Azerbaijan initiated war. 2016, Azerbaijan initiated war. On the 13th of September, Azerbaijani army executed Armenian prisoners, and videos are all over the place. So my question is, all these values are very important. Territorial integrity is very important. It's part of international law. But we cannot pick our territorial integrity and not respect the territorial integrity of someone else. So what is the price we pay when we say something and we exercise the opposite?
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I ask short questions. I think that His Excellency understood what you mean. Please, sir.
I will try to answer, because there are so many questions in one, mostly statement. First of all, about the last question, concerning the territorial integrity of both countries. I did serve 9 years in Brussels. You know what was the most difficult thing for us? Every time when we did have Eastern Partnership Summit, to encourage our Armenian colleagues to agree with territorial integrity of all Eastern Partnership countries in that moment. Now it touched Armenia itself, then now Armenia is thinking about it. But this value is value for everyone. So it was for 30 years, it was in our agenda, and we know what it is. I remember, and now, I'm sorry to say it, but if you are raising these questions, it means that you understand how important it was for us, for Azerbaijan, when we, in 30 years, lost 20% of our territory. It's absolutely clear. Concerning the multiculturalism, have you been in Baku? I've been in Baku. Okay, perfect. Have you seen the Armenian church there, in the center, in the exact center of Baku?
I've seen it. They were playing ping pong. Yes.
Sorry?
Please, we'll bring you the mic so like that people online will be able to.
So if you've been there, you saw that it's in normal conditions. But when we liberated our territories, you know, more than 30 cities, all the villages have been totally destroyed. In our mosques, there were porks and cows they use as the farms. I can't discuss with you this issue a lot. I invite you to discuss it in personal way. But when I started in School of Government, JFC School of Government, my teacher said, never go, polemic is the last thing for public diplomacy. And polemic with journalists, it's even more disaster. That's why I don't want to go to polemic. But I would like to say, if we start with our past, we can say so many things about the same which happened in Azerbaijani territory. I can say about Khojaly, 613 people have been killed in one night. I can say the same words about the totally destroyed Agdam, Fizoli, Jebrail, so many cities. So, we can go to, but my proposal to you, I don't know, you are Armenian or you are Swiss, but my proposal to you, if we want to build future, we can't build it based only on the past. We should think about the future generations. Despite of all this disaster which happened with our country in these 20 years, our proposal was, let's go to the peace. Let's go to the peace negotiations. Concerning the last issue, you told me about this issue of the killing of the soldiers. It's very interesting. Our general prosecutor immediately started investigation. And we started investigation by other cases as well. But I have never seen any investigation from Armenian side concerning other issues. So I don't want to go again to polemic. I came here with a message of peace. But let's wait for the results. If you do not trust them, we can go further. But the investigation is going on. And trust me, if there's any improvement of this, of course, the person will be punished. Because it was done, has been done by Azerbaijani general prosecutor when it happened a few months ago. We saw it, and it has, they've been punished, they're in prison. So, the problem is multiculturalism is our part of our approach. We live in the country with a huge number of ethnic groups, huge number. It's, what do you think? Is it normal that only Armenians raise this issue? I don't think so. I think it came from out, because we did live in peace. We do not have any animal hatred against each other. It was for many years. And if we want to reanimate this peaceful, normal life, I don't want even to call it a peaceful coexistence. No. If we will call it a peaceful coexistence, it means that Armenia will not be engaged in the huge serious projects. Just again, in Tbilisi, we talked about it. My president, Prime Minister of Georgia, they talked about it, how to do it, how manage to make it happen. I will be very open, sincerely open with you. You know, when I served in Netherlands before, I did have a meeting with Her Majesty the Queen, and she asked me about the situation in the conflict. It was in 2012. Everything was in a terrible situation. I said, listen, in Benelux countries, you did have 100 years of wars and hundreds of thousands of killed, maybe millions killed people because of their confessional differences and so on. But then Benelux became the small model for European Union. If Belgium, Netherlands, and Luxembourg, with such kind of the background history, negative background history, managed to make it happen, why we, Azerbaijanis, Georgians, Armenians, can't do the same? And that is my message here in the City of Peace to all our partners, colleagues. And if I may say, I am very happy that I can organize this. I can ask about the organization of this press conference here in Geneva because it's a symbol of peace. And let's talk about this. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ambassador Isgandarov. So we'll now take a question online. I'll come back to the room in a few minutes. So we should, okay. So do you hear us, and could you please introduce yourself and ask a short question to His Excellency Ambassador Isgandarov? Yes? Okay, good morning, sir. We'll try again. So, wait just a moment. Yes? We are trying to unmute you. So could you say a few words so like that we'll be able to check if it works? No, we have a sound problem. Could you check your mic? Or use the mic of your computer. Maybe disconnect your headphones and try to... we try again. So try again to say a few words, please.
Hello.
Yes, so we have someone else. So bonjour, good morning. We'll get back to the first gentleman. There's a phone ringing. Please, could you switch off the sound in the room? So, sir, the gentleman with the blue shirt, hi, bonjour. Could you please introduce yourself?
Hello. Do you hear me?
Yes, perfectly clear.
Okay. Thanks for this opportunity. And I would like to ask my question in Russian.
Yes, please do so, but please speak slowly. And someone is going to translate the question for the people that are not understanding Russian. Please go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Я представляю информационное агентство First News из Баку. Хочу задать вопрос, довольно-таки актуальный в последнее время, господину послу. Господин посол, в последнее время происходят атаки на посольство Азербайджана в зарубежных странах. В связи с этим приняты ли какие-либо меры дополнительной меры безопасности? И в целом, как вы оцениваете ситуацию в плане безопасности для азербайджанского посольства в Швейцарии? Благодарю.
So could you please translate for us? Thank you, sir.
The gentleman is from First News as news agency, and his question is about the recent attacks on Azerbaijani diplomatic representations all around the world. And the question is, what kind of security measures have been taken, and what is the security situation in this area in Switzerland?
Thank you for the translation, Your Excellency. Maybe you could a few in Russian and English, because you.
I will start in Russian, then I will go to English. Я могу, конечно, рассказывать очень много о вопросах безопасности наших посольств. Когда я работал в Брюсселе, была очень серьезная атака на посольство Азербайджана, вновь открытое посольство Азербайджана. В 2020 году, в июле, мы всего лишь год работали, огромное здание, и ущерб причиненный исчислялся 49 тысячами евро. И мы прекрасно тогда поняли, что нет на земле места, где мы могли бы чувствовать себя спокойно. Поэтому мы актуализировали нашу работу. Мы не можем заниматься, значит, выставлением наших служб безопасности по всему периметру. И мы начали работать активно с местными органами, правоохранительными органами, для того, чтобы не допустить этого. И Швейцария, я думаю, является хорошим примером. Несмотря на то, что здесь произошел террористический акт в отношении турецкого посла, это было сделано в 1981 году, но на сегодняшний день мы работаем очень активно вместе с нашими коллегами из Министерства Federal Department of Foreign Affairs и правоохранительными органами. I would like just to repeat what I said. You know, as ambassador to to the head of mission to European Union and ambassador to Brussels in 2020, I did feel what it is, attack on the embassy, and the attack was terrible. 6 persons had been wounded, and there was so many emergency services. All the embassy was in blood, and of course the damage of the embassy was 49,000 euros. But then we invited our security guys to protect it. But we understand that it could happen all over the world. It happened, for example, now in Lebanon, or tomorrow in other city. So that's why the main direction in this case is to work very actively with the local law enforcement agencies. We do it here in Switzerland, and we know the experience. And in 1981, Asala killed here Turkish diplomats. If they have such kind of the history, I hope that it will not be repeated, because Switzerland is one of the most secure countries in the world with a very good, effective law enforcement system. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So we'll come back to the room. I saw the gentleman, yes, and then after we have the lady on the first row.
Thank you, Mr. Ambassador. My name is David Alaverjan. I'm a student at the University of Geneva. In the statement published by the Embassy of Azerbaijan early October, and in your words, you said that 4 military servicemen have been identified, 4 Azeri servicemen have been identified as potentially being responsible for illegal acts, and that a criminal case was filed against them. Will they receive perhaps the same treatment as did Ramil Safarov? To remind the fact, Ramil Safarov was an Azeri lieutenant who was welcomed as a hero in Baku by Aliyev and promoted major after murdering with an axe in 2004 an Armenian soldier named Margaryan in his sleep during a NATO training program in Budapest. And during his trial, he said, "My call is to kill all Armenians." Will they receive the same treatment as did Safarov?
I expected that you will be back to the case of Safarov, which happened more than 15 years ago. But the case of Safarov, I don't want to defend any criminal acts. It's absolutely unfair. But first of all, President Aliyev never met with Safarov. That's It's absolutely, it's true, and please do not interpret it in this way. Secondary, Safarov was from the Jebrail region of Azerbaijan. He lost a lot of members of his family, and it was his response. Of course, it's not excuse for such kind of the cases. But if we speak about the total general number of the persons, again we are going to polemic about the hundreds, thousands of killed persons. For example, in case of, I can give you the example, just one example about the mines. You know, in 30 years, 3,345 persons have been, you know, affected by mines landed in occupied territories. Among them, 38 women and 357 kids have been killed. And after the Second War, that 266 persons have been, you know, affected, 48 killed, among them 3 journalists and 35 civilians. So it's about, but it also, now we see the problem of first, that we are facing with the mines which we have produced in 2021 after the war and landed in our territory, and especially in the new towns, and that's why we see that it goes on. It is, I can give you another examples. If again we will go to the such kind of, it will be the polemic, it will be discussions. I can give you hundreds of such kind of examples, dozens of such kind of examples. But you are, if you want to, if you are a student of Geneva University, which I respect very much, if you are a representative of new generation of Armenians, let's think about your generation. Let's think about how your generation and Azerbaijani generation will live together in the Southern Caucasus. It's very easy to live here. It's trust me, yes, it's Europe, very comfortable country. There are so many, the law is working very well. The level of life is very high. But what we need now to do something more, to develop relations, to go to the peace. Every time when we're starting to talk about peace, someone is reminding us about something that happened yesterday. Yes, we can't remind it as well, but yesterday already passed. We should think about tomorrow. And tomorrow, it's for your generation, not for mine. I'm 62 years old. And you should live in this life, in this future, together or without Azerbaijanis, in one family of nations of Southern Caucasus, or again in wars. That is a main question. We'll be engaged in such a global projects which we see in Southern Caucasus, or you will remain, totally blocked without only connectivity with Iran and some connections with other countries. Listen, I propose you as a representative of a new generation, met with a new generation representative of Azerbaijan and discussed about the future. It will be much more sufficient for, construction of the future peace. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency. So we'll take a question online. We have many questions, sir. Yes, people are really happy to have you in person here, and thank you again for being and accepting to answer all these questions. So we'll give the floor now to someone online. It is a lady. Good morning, bonjour. Please introduce yourself and tell us in which language you are going to ask your question. Thank you.
Thank you for giving me the floor. I will ask my question in English. I'm Datevi Karutunyan from Armenia, from Aravat Daily newspaper. And I have a very direct and small question to Mr. Ambassador. Recently, the peace agenda has been actively promoted, but at the same time, Azerbaijan has invaded into the sovereign territory of Armenia in September, just in September. Mr. Ambassador, don't you think that it's unrealistic to talk about peace without Azerbaijan leaving the sovereign territory of the Republic of Armenia? And what can be done in the diplomatic field to make progress in this regard? So thank you beforehand for the answer.
Thank you for this question. It's a really very important question. Why? If we speak about the peace, yes, we can refer that the military forces are in the territory which are now under the control of Russian peacekeepers, Armenian military force, which is totally contrary to the, our statement 9th of November 2020. We can talk about the enclaves, Azerbaijani enclaves which have been occupied by Armenia. And so there are so many questions. But that's why we should go to the peace agreement discussions. We should go to the peace agreement discussions to solve these issues. That's very important. Secondary, I would like just to repeat the words of my president. We didn't occupy any village, any town on the territory of Armenia. Hundreds of our villages and towns have been under the occupation for 30 years. No one talked about it. If we will go to this issue and you will go to this, in this case, we will lose any possibility for peace negotiations in future. Peace negotiations and peace agreement is dedicated specially on the resolution of these problematic issues. Azerbaijan didn't occupy the territory of Armenia. The border is not clear. But from these hills, there's so many attacks on Azerbaijani side have been provided, and mines have been landed from these hills to the territory of Azerbaijan. So if I don't want to discuss this issue that we were right or Armenians are wrong. No, we are speaking about the resolution of all these problems. If we speak about the peace agreement, it's a basis document based on which we can work further. That's a very important issue. If we will say, no, we don't want peace agreement, so the situation will be even worse. You understand what I mean? That's why I strongly recommend our neighbors from Armenia to support this process of peace negotiations. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. So we'll take the question in the room. We have a lady on the first row. We try to give the floor to someone in the room and then someone online and so on.
Yes.
Please.
Thank you. My name is Ekaterina Kojukhar. I'm an independent journalist. I would like to ask about a platform you told Georgia, Azerbaijan and Armenia. What kind of platform it will be? It's for boosting economical collaboration or peaceful negotiation. Can you speak a little bit more about it? Georgia, Azerbaijan, Armenia.
We're 3,000 Caucasus countries. We should live in peace. It's mandatory. We can't go to the moon or Mars. And that is the most important mandatory element of all of our first coexistence. Secondary, we need to find a good platform for normal ongoing negotiations. I think Tbilisi is a nice place to talk because we both, Armenia, Azerbaijan, trust to our Georgian friends. And just recently my president said first time I heard it, that our triangle cooperation could be very helpful for the future of the region. You know, just one example which could be very interesting. Traffic via the territory of Georgia and Azerbaijan has grown 76% just in 9 months. Imagine if, for example, Armenia will be there in this process. Just imagine, for example, we have 8 access to Armenia, the possibility for 8 access. But if we manage to build up this, I call it Zangezur corridor, but the Armenians were very sensitive to the issue corridor. They call it corridor northwest, east, south, northeast. I don't know. But there are so many. We use corridor, the word corridor, in case of the southern gas corridor, for example. The corridor means that you are working together. You have direct engagement of the traffic goods from Europe to Asia and from Asia to Europe. And it is very important for all 3 countries. Azerbaijan invested $3 billion and $300 million US dollars to economy of Georgia. Now Georgia is working, very seriously with enlarging of infrastructure, logistic capacity. Why Armenian neighbors can't do the same? I do think that we should start from this connectivity line. In this case, Armenia will be engaged in this process. My approach is a very economical one, based on economy. And this will be amazing opportunity for all 3 countries to be developed on the appropriate level. If Armenia will be isolated, poor country, it's a real threat for all of us. Because if you are developing, you are a rich country, and nearby the country which, feels suffered, of course, it doesn't help the peace. That's why we're in favor of this peace agreement, of these communication lines between Azerbaijan, Armenia, Georgia, and nobody will lose. It's a win-win situation for everyone, for Georgians as well. There are some rumors that in case of the new corridor between Armenia and Azerbaijan, Georgia will lose. No. We have a very Baku-Tbilisi cars, railway, which is, if you will go to Baku, you will see that railways are going maybe in 5 minutes, even faster than here in Switzerland, because so many goods are going via our territory. We should use this opportunity now. Tectonic changes in Eurasian continent are going on. And now, medium corridor, it's not that they're just alternative choice. It is a first choice now because of the other issues which are not depending on us. There are sanctions on the north, sanctions on the south, and that's why European companies, they're mostly working with the medium corridor. And medium corridor means not only Georgia, Azerbaijan, Turkey, and Central Asia. It could be Georgia, Azerbaijan, Armenia, Turkey, and Central Asian countries. Why not? Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We have another question. Oh, we have so many questions. So, yes, the gentleman there that has the mic.
Mr. Ambassador, first of all, thank you for the opportunity. I'm also a student at the University of Geneva. My name is Adrian Yekazarian. Mr. Ambassador, I'd like to come back to your answer to Viken Cheterian. And I won't talk about the history so far, because you seem to be a man of looking at the future. You told this. So, in the last 2 years, Ilham Aliyev has multiplied...
Please, the mic closer of your mouth, yes.
Yes, so your president has multiplied territorial claims against the Republic of Armenia. Just to take one single case, in an Instagram post of July 14, 2021, I quote, your president, Zangezur, Sevan, and Yerevan are our historical lands. We will definitely return, end of quote. So, Mr. Ambassador, do you consider these statements constructive for the building of peace and the achievement of this peace you are mentioning so much? Thank you.
First, when we speak about our historical lands, yes, you know, my roots are coming from these lands. So, you know, my grandfather did live there. So we have historical, it's historically so many thousands, hundreds of thousands Azerbaijanis they did live, including the capital, Yerevan. So it's about the historical roots. But if we speak about the current situation, of course, we signed the OSCE, you know, documents, and we were a member of United Nations. No one would like to change anything in our borders with other countries. We're thinking, you know, the problem is there are some kind of artificial threats which are providing by some, I think, some forces which are out of the region. They don't want to have this, I call it Benelux of Southern Caucasus. It's my dream. It's a dream for my kids, because they're students now, and they should live, and they're in your age, and they should live in these countries. And, you know, again and again, I can say the same words about prime ministers, presidents of your country that said so many words about our own territories. If we will go again to detail quotes about it, no, it happened in 2021, right? Agree? But it, you know, when Mr. Pashinyan said Karabakh is Armenia, and that's all, do you think it was, you know, we were happy with it? No. But you should understand one very important element in our history. If we're going back to Armenia, it doesn't mean occupation. We never occupied Armenia. Never. It was never, no one village, no one town had been occupied. And I will, you know, just share with you my vision that so many Armenians that live in Azerbaijan, they enjoy Azerbaijan. For example, sister of the head, the chief of the military headquarters of Armenia, she lived in Azerbaijan and enjoyed her life. So just one example which has shown, so it's possible to live together. You know, sometimes I'm really surprising when to our direct tete-a-tete meetings, the other forces would like to be engaged. You know, they say, no, we can't talk with each other. We can. I am talking with you right now. I talk with others right now. And what? We are ready to kill each other? No, of course. We are really educated, well-behaved persons. And that's why my proposal is to deliver these messages to other countries, to Armenia, to Azerbaijan, to Georgia, to our neighboring countries. We can, we will, and I'm sure we will manage to make it happen. I'm pessimist, frankly speaking. But concerning the peace agreement with Armenia, I'm really optimistic. I'm sure that it will be done. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Another question online this time.
Do you hear me?
Yes, we do hear you. Thank you, sir.
First, hello to everyone. I am Jaden Alzada, representative of TV on behalf of the here. And I'm thankful and really grateful.
Could you please put the mic in front of your lips? Your mic? Yes. Yes.
Like this?
Yes.
It's okay now?
Better. Thank you, sir.
Thank you too. No, I have one question, but before my question, I would like to say a few words. Please don't be and don't be as an Armenian people, I mean, and let me say what I want to say
We don't
now.
understand you. I'm sorry.
What?
Could you repeat it? Could you please repeat?
Now hear me?
Yes.
I mean,
someone is talking next to you, no?
What?
Is there someone next to you also speaking? Because we hear two voices on the line.
Can I give my question after
please,
another
sir.
one?
Yes, do so. We are waiting, no? Could you try to repeat your question, please, sir? So we'll take then someone else. And if you want, sir, you could maybe write your question. So like that, we will read it to His Excellency Ambassador. And maybe we could give the floor to another person online. Yes, we are trying to give the opportunity to someone online to ask a question. Pardon? Mr. Karimov? Karimov. Mr. Karimov, please try to ask your question. We opened your mic. You unmuted.
Can you hear me?
Yes, thank you. Good morning, sir.
Thank you. Good morning. First of all, I would like to thank for participating for this event. I have a questions. Will be short. Mr. Ambassador, how can you describe the current situation between Azerbaijan and Armenia peace agenda? Thank you very much.
I talked about it a lot, and I would like again to repeat that we proposed 5 principles which were agreed with Armenian side, and the Armenian side would like to add something, but there are ongoing negotiations on it. I would like also to express my gratitude to our Swiss partners. They arranged very interesting, very serious first ever historical negotiations, tete-a-tete negotiations between Azerbaijan and Armenia, 2nd of October here. And I just would like to inform you that it finished somewhere at 11 o'clock, and our team then worked until 3 o'clock in the night. So it means that we managed to discuss something as minimum, to share visions on different issues. Secondary, immediately after this meeting, the 6th of October, there were the meeting in the summit, political summit in Prague, and I saw the pictures where our president and prime minister of Armenia, they talked directly with each other. I saw some kind of the formal meeting of president of Azerbaijan, prime minister of Armenia, president of Council of European Union, and president of France. And then we heard some kind of the disturbing news from the outside forces trying to disturb it, trying to damage this negotiation process. I will be very sincere with you. When we are working tete-a-tete, Azerbaijanis directly with Armenians, or you can say, okay, Armenians directly with Azerbaijanis in Georgia, Tbilisi, or here in Geneva. Trust me, we have immediate positive effect. And when someone is accompanying us, another global player is, in some cases, is very jealous and reacting very negatively. So we have an engagement of different global players in the process of negotiations. It's okay, no problem. I understand it, because Southern Caucasus is became one of the key regions of the planet, not only because of the Eurasian regional projects, but also because of the political importance. But we should understand that the decision is up to us. Nobody will find a decision except us. We can have a pressure from other global players. Yes, we can. But I have never seen such kind of the intensive meetings and negotiations between Azerbaijan and Armenian side as in last months. Just one example. Most probably 31st October it will be the meeting in Russia. Immediately in November, the vice prime ministers will talk with each other, I think Armenian and Azerbaijani one. And you know, I like this negotiation of vice prime minister. You know, they talk about the water management. They talked about the communication lines. They talked about how to use the lands, how to clean the water. It's more detailed, very professional discussion. It's not only about demarcation and delimitation of borders. It's the practical issues. I want also to inform you that we were in touch with local Armenians in Karabakh about the water management and managed to find a solution. Nobody is talking about it, but it's crucial to understand. We managed to find the solution of water management problem together with the local Armenians in Azerbaijan. If we will manage to do it now, it means that we can do much more in future. So, peace negotiation processes, it's a very complicated process. It's not only the one paper with 5 principles or some kind of details. No, it's much more comprehensive process with difficult participants, with difficult players from on the global level, on the regional level. And we should overcome all the obstacles because the decisions are up to us. Thank you.
Thank you. So we are going to take the last question in the room here in Geneva. So please, the gentleman on the second row.
Thank you very much. Mr. Ambassador, I am Sarkis Shahinian, the General Secretary of the Parliamentary Group Switzerland-Armenia. 10 days ago, we were together with 2 MPs of Switzerland in Jermuk. And exactly in front of us on the hill, there were the Azerbaijani troops. So there were exactly 12 kilometers inside of the internationally recognized Armenian borders. I am very, very keen to your open-mindedness in order to look after dialogue between the 2 parts. But don't you think that you have really to change the paradigm of dialogue, just not in order to put the gun on the neck of the Armenians to start such dialogue? Thank you very much.
I know about your visit. I know about the statements which were made. Frankly speaking, I was really surprised because you visited Armenia when the first sign of some kind of the damages have been appeared. But nobody from, your team visited Azerbaijan in these 30 years when we did have much more serious damages, much more serious, and totally destroyed Hiroshimas, totally destroyed ones. And, if we would like to be trusted from Azerbaijani society, Swiss society, or, for example, Armenian society, we should use the as minimum balanced approach to go in both directions. I want to give another example, which a little bit later, but concerning these hills. These hills were used for special attacks on Azerbaijan and attacks and mining the routes, the main routes of supplying. And you know, in 2 years, we managed to build up 2 airports, the new motorways. You can't imagine new infrastructural project there. Can you put them under the threat from these hills? No, that is our position. In case we will, in case of our management, of our success story, of no threatening to each other, because it is in our draft of our peace agreement. No threatening by force, no implementation by force. Of course, I think we will find the best solution of this problem. And last but not least, you know, again, if we speak about some kind of the damages, listen, no one village, no one town has been occupied, nothing. And last but not least, what it is, the border? What is the border? That we have some kind of line which someone's used to mark as a border. Someone says, no, it's a line of, between Armenia and Azerbaijan. That's why we need to start with demarcation and delimitation of borders immediately, yesterday. Then all the questions will be solved. And concerning the non-biased approach, just recently, 14th of November, Grand Council of Geneva, decided to adopt the resolution. Maybe you know about it. I don't want to go to assess this resolution, but it was done in case. The name is How to Survive Armenia. And, we did try to approach Geneva members of parliament. We sent the letters, but no one responded. No one did hear our voices, would like to hear our position on it. Only the one position has been described in this document. And I want to give you another example. When I did serve in Brussels, the Flemish Parliament decided to adopt the same resolution after the 44 days war. It was in January 2021. And they invited both ambassadors of Armenia and Azerbaijan. Unfortunately, my father passed away, and that's why I requested, I excused that I can't come. And what they did, they postponed the discussions in parliament with me for 10 days. And we did have 2.5 hours discussions in Flemish parliament. They did hear both ambassadors, Azerbaijani and Armenian one, and then they decided not to adopt any documents because it would damage the peace process which started. So my proposals to, I can't, again, as I don't want to interfere to internal issues of Switzerland, but if you want to adopt any document helping the peace, you should be very, it should be trustful. Trust means the information from both sides. Unfortunately, we didn't have it here in Geneva. Thank you.
So, thank you, sir. We'll make you work a little bit longer because there are so many professional journalists online and that are complaining that they haven't had the floor and the opportunity to ask you questions. So we'll go online. Okay, I recognize this face. Good morning, Anna. Bonjour.
Bonjour. Hello, Mr. Ambassador. It's Anna Aznaur. I'm Swiss journalist. So I have a question. I appreciate a lot your sentence about goodwill. So my question is, how can Armenian and the whole world trust the goodwill of Azerbaijanis if your country didn't respect agreement signed on 9 November 2020 on the non-violation of the ceasefire, and especially the restitution to Armenia of its citizen held hostage in Azerbaijan? You hold them for 2 years, and also about the goodwill. Do you think that your country can recognize the pogroms of Armenian of Sumgait and Baku in 1988, which start the first Nagorno-Karabakh war between Armenia and Azerbaijan? Thanks for your question, for your answer. Sorry.
It was mostly a statement than a question. That's why it will be really difficult to answer on it. If I will answer, it means I will go to polemic. So let's start about the issue of the 9th of November 2020 statement. Two of elements of the statement hasn't been implemented yet by Armenian side. First of all, it's a total withdrawal of the military troops from the territory, which is now monitoring by Russian peacekeepers. And secondly, the access to our Nakhchivan region was the shortest way, which existed before the war. So if we speak about who is violating this statement, there are so many questions. And that's why I don't want to blame to each other, but if we should be pragmatic in case of implementation of this statement. Concerning the situation in past about the so-called, pogroms, the war started in 1988. The first 2 persons have been killed. They've been killed in Agdam. And then it has an immediate reaction in Azerbaijani society. Then it has an immediate reaction in Armenian society. And a huge number of refugees from Armenia have flown to Azerbaijan. It was a terrible situation. I did live in this period. Maybe most of you, they're very young, you don't know how it was, but it was really terrible. The persons to whom we trusted, and we did live together, because there were so many Azerbaijanis in Armenia, so many Armenians in Azerbaijan, and we didn't have any problematic issues in our everyday routine conversation. I remember when I started in the school, my first friend, he was Armenian. Unfortunately, in accident, it was the beginning of or end of 1960s. He passed away in the car accident, and I remember how my feelings. So we did live together, but when you have such kind of the intensity of communication, any actions on one side immediately initiate the problematic issues on the other side. But if we speak about the accusations concerning who started the war, how it happened.
It's not the accusation. No, sorry, it's not the accusation. My question is,
Please,
sorry.
excuse
My
me.
question is, do you think to to restitute to Armenia the hostage of 44 days war in Nagorno-Karabakh, because these people are held now in Azerbaijan, and it's 2 years that you signed the agreement and you to restitute them. Armenia restitute all Azerbaijanis hostage that this country keeps, and but it's not the it's not the case of Azerbaijan. So my question is, when your country think to restitute to Armenia its hostage?
Thank you, Anna. Please let the ambassador answer, and there are still people waiting online to ask their questions.
I just want answer, it will be enough. Immediately after restitutions, which we will receive for 30 years of total destroying occupation of Azerbaijani territories. That's all of my question. And I don't want to go to the polemic. Again, when I try to go to the future, you are trying to return me to the back, to the past. Okay, if you want, I can respond. We're preparing legal procedure for these 30 years of occupation, where all our cities, all our villages have been totally destroyed, and we did have 1 million refugees and internally displaced persons. When this restitution will be paid, of course, any other restitution, any other payment will be done as well. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We'll pass to the next question.
Hi.
Yes, we have a gentleman online, please.
Yes. Hi, I'm Martin Boykovsky, and I am a reporter for Eurasia Business Today. I will be very brief. The Swiss cooperation strategy for South Caucasus 2017-2020 marked great success. Do you believe that the new cooperation program for the period 2022-2025 will yield similar results? And also, do you see any new initiatives in sight to further expand the cooperation in other segments, rather than economic development, good governance, and the rule of law? Thank you very much.
You mentioned the new program for 2025, which I didn't understand you correctly.
Could you please repeat the end of your question about which program you're referring to?
The Swiss cooperation strategy for South Caucasus. The new program.
Yeah, I understood.
Thank you.
I understood.
Thank you, sir.
So we are working very seriously with our Swiss partners. In December, it will be the next round of our intergovernmental commission. By the way, with a business forum as a side event, with a huge number of companies which are working in Azerbaijan and Azerbaijani companies which are working in Switzerland. And concerning the one issue which is really very important, just new Chamber of Commerce and Industry of Swiss-Azerbaijani Chamber of Commerce and Industry has been established here in Geneva. It happened the 21st of September, and we're very, optimistic about its activity because, frankly speaking, big companies are very active. We see Holcim in Azerbaijan, Stadler in Azerbaijan, or Sokar Trading or Sokar Energy here in Switzerland. But we need to, to go further with the small and medium companies. And that is the main direction of our cooperation. And if you speak about what is the priorities, it's innovation. And just recently, a few Swiss companies visited Azerbaijan. I think the visits were very successful because they're very innovative. And also, second one, alternative energy. We have a very ambitious plan about it because we understand that the future is not only oil and gas, but mostly it's about alternative energy. And we work with our Swiss partners very seriously, very closely in this direction. I do hope that you will hear a lot of new good news about this dimension of our cooperation. Concerning the program of Swiss government until 2025, we are at your disposal. If you want to work with us in this case, perfect. But trust me that we are a self-sustainable country. We are not staying in the queue as the other countries asking money, help us, contrary. We have a request from our European partners to support our friends in Europe in most difficult and challenging times. And we are doing our job, frankly speaking.
Thank you, sir. The gentleman, because we have so many questions, so the gentleman is raising his hand since the beginning. Please introduce yourself and ask a question to His Excellency.
Thank you very much. Brian Lewis, I'm not a journalist, but in the energy space. Very briefly, you've mentioned around the Southern Gas Corridor, and obviously at this point in time, there is a significant energy crisis appearing in Europe. You've already mentioned what, through SOCAR and Azerbaijan, is doing to help try and alleviate that energy security crisis which is occurring, not just in Europe, but elsewhere. What else could Azerbaijan be doing today to help its European partners? And then secondly, how do you potentially see that impacting the bilateral Azerbaijan-Swiss relationship in a post-conflict or war environment once the peace negotiations have concluded? Thank you very much.
Okay, I will start with the first question, then we will go to the second one. First, now our total export of gas by Southern Gas Corridor is 16 BCM. Most of them we are delivering to Turkey, then it goes to Europe. Just recently, there was a participation of high-level officials from all the countries. We opened the interconnector between Greece and Bulgaria. Maybe it seems something very small, event, but trust me, it will change the energy security of this most poor part, from energetical point of view, part of Europe totally. And with this interconnector, we help not only to Bulgaria, we help Balkan countries, we try to deliver our gas also by swapping operation via Romania to Ukraine because of the harvesting, because of other issues. It was a request of the European Union. But we have a very serious plans for the future. By 2025, we will double our energy supply or gas supply to Europe, 31 BCM. It is our ambitious but absolutely realistic plan. I do think that we do have a possibility to do it ourselves, but the most important thing is to engage other countries to this process as well. And again, I would like to say that if we speak about the new infrastructural projects, new logistical lines, I call it Greater Caspian region, we need to understand that access to this region depends on the stability here. And the second question was about between Switzerland and Azerbaijan, in energy or in all others?
With what is happening today, moving into a post-war or conflict environment, how you see
just
that
one example, and everything will be clear. Swiss company is working out master plans for 4 cities in liberated territories, which have been totally destroyed, totally. There was absolutely there was no any building at all. And we are very happy that the Swiss company is doing it, because this area is very close, it's similar to the Swiss Alps, very green mountain area, and approach of our Swiss partners is really very, very, sufficient. Secondary, which I want to say, that we work with a, huge number of companies. 89 Swiss companies are registered in Azerbaijan, and they are working very hardly. They have a very serious profit. Just one example, Holcim is providing by, concrete, cement, I call it, not only Southern Caucasus, but also nearby regions. And I want to say that, trust me, you live in a very trustful country without specific political ambitions. It's great. When you have a deal in business with a country without political ambitions, without any specific, specific attempt to have a pressure on you to be engaged. For example, even in case of the conflict resolution, it's great. Switzerland among these partners. And we're working very seriously in financial management. I'll be very open with you that our cooperation in constituency, which is under leading of Switzerland, under this what it is. It's an International Monetary Fund and the World Bank constituency, and also our every year visit to Davos, where we have so many interesting meetings. Every time it encourages us to a new developments. And what I want to say as ambassador, not as a business person who is promoting business. Trust me, I was ambassador to Brussels, and I did work as ambassador of one of the Eastern Partnership countries. You know what was the difference between Azerbaijan and others? First of all, we decided to create great economical foundation, basis for our cooperation in other spheres, to make our values closer. That's why we started with our Southern Gas Corridor. That's why we started with our logistical project. That's why we started with the Baku-Tbilisi Cars project. That's why we started with a huge number of projects connecting Europe and Asia. And just in most difficult times, it was in 2019, it was before the war. In 2020, our trade turnover with Ukraine has risen 3 times just because of this infrastructure. Other Eastern Partnership countries, they started mostly with the other elements of cooperation. Huge number, maybe with the values. It's good, but values without the real basis, they don't work, and we see it, unfortunately, in different parts of the world. That's why we are very happy that we have a very solid economical basis, and we invited to this process our Georgian friends, and we want to invite there to all our Eastern Partnership, including Armenia as well. Thank you.
So, Excellency Ambassador Fuad ISGANDAROV, thank you so much for answering during 1 hour and a half to, yes, you did, to most of the questions asked in the room and online. Of course, you're always welcome at the Club Suisse de la Presse here in Geneva to have this kind of dialogue with the members of the press and representatives of other entities. Thank you to all for being with us this morning. Merci à tous, and have a nice day. Belle journée à tous.
If I may say.
Yes, please.
Just a few words. First of all, thank you for everyone for coming here. It was an opportunity for me. to talk with a journalist, to talk with a specialist, even to talk with opponents, whom I would like to talk. It's a real good platform, maybe sometimes, to talk.
You're
with
welcome.
Yeah. You understand what I mean? Sometimes you need to speak with a person who are, not on your position, and just to share you. Don't go to polemic. Don't go to difficult, problematic issues, but maybe to find some kind of which can make us closer to each other. I do hope that this press conference made us closer to each other. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Bonne journée à tous.